I guess I'll go next. And I have something that kind of was on, at least for me, it was not a terrible premise for me to watch, but I don't know necessarily how much I hope I had for it. It is negative positive angler, also known as negaposi angler, NP angler. I think one of the other abbreviations, negagura. Yeah, negagura. I think was one of the floater around abbreviations, but you can
Dangerous.
just call it negative. Yeah,
Yeah, very,
negative
very
positive angler.
dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, but this is an anime original, produced by Nut Studios or Studio Nut, who is the famous or perhaps infamous studio behind FLCL Alternative and Shoegaze, as well as, but
Wow.
they also did do stuff
Woo!
like Yojo Senki beforehand. Um, they have help from, I think, the Chiptune, which is like a known kind of background art 3D CG studio, as well as 50 other subcontractors and helping out them out with like the standard stuff, second key animation, finishing animation, so on and so forth. The general main directorial production staff is a combination, is essentially Kazufumi Kirishima as producer, yeah, Kazufumi Kikushima as the main producer, as well as I believe Uemura Yutaka. Uemura Yutaka being a studio nut veteran, uh, helped direct or was the director for their FLCL alternative Shoegaze, but also did Yojo Senki, again, Saga of Tanya the Evil, which wasn't, which was pretty decent anime wise. I think the pacing was a little bit off, but
I
the
think the only
actual
thing
anime
people
adaptation.
really didn't like about the Yojo Senki anime was the art style.
The lips,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
them big old kissers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well as Dentalian no Shoka, which I really liked from Uemura, the way kind of everything hooked up. So I want to say that FLCL was maybe more the fault of just how everything was kind of shoehorned together and how the big wigs were like, we just want more FLCL because it seems like a title that we can make money with. So I'm gonna probably put it like that, right? I'm not gonna blame Uemura too much for that, maybe cross fingers. But yeah, essentially Studio Nut, and obviously under the lead of Lemon Yutaka, they've brought together his trusted crew from his FLCL alternative and his Yojo Senki stuff, plus some veterans that, such as Tomohiro Suzuki, who's doing the series composition and script, and his One Punch Man connections, and then other kind of like Studio Nut related connections and veterans to create this sort of very powerhouse team. For instance, again, Tomohiro Suzuki, he's helped out with obviously One Punch Man, Aka 13, the recent Boogie Pop, Free Run, stuff like that. Kikuya Tomoki for music, done stuff with Bochi the Rock, Blondes, Hida Sketch, Squid Girl, um, a lot of other stuff. Again, the character designer for this one, Taniguchi Hiromi, he also has done the character design for the anime for the current Rama, one half, and is also doing some chief animation directorial roles for that as well. Um, Art director worked with Corazon, Decadence, Symphogear Season 3, Tokyo Ravens. Sound director has done everything from Megami Sama to FGO to Fate UBW to JoJo to Sword Art Online, blah, blah. Again, very, very, very strong veteran team. And I want to say it's probably, I'll blame how the big rigs want to shoe in. Bigwigs want to shoe in FLCL so much and how they want to kind of push for it over um sort of the art team getting squashed like that. I won't blame the art team too much for these things. So um but yeah. So very very big veteran powerhouse staff. That's kind of buoyed also by some the voice acting cast. The voice acting cast is some current top seiyuu or voice actor slash actresses, combined with a lot of veterans who have had a lot of experience with more kind of like supporting character voices. So obviously you have a top lineup of Fairuzai, Ishikawa Kaito, You have people like Tomatsu Haraka, Hirose Yuya, stuff like that. Tsuchiya Ryu, who's currently voicing Madoka, Hikuchi in Animemaster Shiny Colors, or Hikuchi Madoka in Animemaster Shiny Colors. But you all again have some like the other veterans who have done a little bit more supporting roles. You have someone like Iwa Nakamutsuki, you had Tsuchiya Hiroki, stuff like that. So a lot of kind of or yeah, Iwa Nakamutsuki himself, I think this is his first major like main role. A lot of his other stuff have been more like supporting roles. So yeah, so pretty interesting cast. And again, the staff is pretty good. Audio visuals real quick. The opening is Ito. The song is Ito by Van de Schop. And the song itself, the audio is a pretty standard J-pop and a song by this three-man group called Van de Schop, a former, and they formerly did a lot of like Vocaloid Peak kind of stuff. Was Utaite, but then they transitioned into making sort of more standard J-pop and songs. I think the song is itself is okay. The composition is okay. A little bit too much of the auto tune effect. It's almost hard to make out the lyrics of the song at times with how much auto tune they put in the male vocals. So maybe that's a little bit too much. Um, the visuals and the storyboarding of this opening are both quite decent, and they show off the cast properly. They show the good parts of the story and like what the story represents, or what themes and what you're going to go through the anime are, which is really nice. But I think so. The opening is a very kind of standard, energetic, catchy, not catchy. Well, it's just this energetic and vibrant J-pop kind of song, right? And the issue is that the excitement and the energy that the opening is trying to evoke is capped. There's a ceiling to it because this is the fucking series about chilling out and fishing, right? So you can only go so far being like, whoa, wow, everything's like all the scenes are changing. Oh, he's doing all these things. He's fishing. He's cooking the fish. And it's like, I'm looking at this
You never
storyboard
know, man. They could
for
have
the
pulled a
opening.
Saki, bro.
Yeah, that's true. Fishing Ball Z. Yeah. But
I'm fishing
I
with
just think
Dynamat.
exactly. It's like you can only go so much with a theme, and I don't think you needed to have it be this exciting, but it's okay. It's fine. The ending theme is Shonin Yokyu by Kuroneko. So Kuroneko is a very famous utaite, Vocaloid singer, and if you search her on YouTube, I think she has like 1 million plus YouTube followers. Very good song composition, very good singing. The song harkens back a little bit to the city pop genre that Japanese people do like to draw from here and there. The visuals themselves are not descriptive. It's literally just a static cityscape cityscape line that with like changing days or whatever it is, changing time. And it shows like the afternoon and the evening and stuff like that. But yeah, the visuals are nondescript overall. The good, the song, both songs are pretty decent. I like the ending a lot more than the opening. Going over the audio visuals of the general series real quickly, I think quite a decent amount of money went into the visualizations. There's not a lot of dilution and like simplifications in the base character designs, even during when there's like more fast, more intricate movement and stuff like that, which is really nice. Although again, a lot of this is fishing. It's not like they're duking it out with villains and shooting, doing magic battles and stuff like that. A lot of it's kind of throwing the rod, doing stuff, whatever. And although most of it is that sort of fishing and small basic day-to-day movement, a lot of it has like more precise and detailed animation with regards to like finger movement, with regards to kind of like how they move their necks and like heads and faces and stuff like that. That would be expected in sort of your regular slice of life variant anime. So I do appreciate that. Um, I do think that I do like the character designs quite a bit. By Taniguchi Hirumi, as well as help from art director Ichi Kurake. They help a lot with this sort of like visuals too. the character designs almost are somewhat reminiscent of almost like a Yoshinari Yo of Little Witch Academia fame style, or like an Okubo Atsushi of like Soul Eater Fire Force style. Although, obviously the designs aren't as busy because they're just like regular people. But I do like how the designs are, and I do like how it's not sort of as diluted when they're doing more busy animations. Um, One thing I will also mention that the 3D CG is pretty decent and it blends in well with the rest of the series, but I think that's less due to how the artist stood. Although obviously I will praise the artist for doing the good 3D CG, but I think it's also the fact that using 3D CG in a fishing series is just a really good idea. It's like I noticed this when I was watching. I was like, wait a minute, 3D CG in a fishing series is a fucking layup. It's a layup because uh, you can make the fish 3D CG and nobody will care because fish in the water, fish flying out of the sea, um, glistening in the sunlight, right? Glistening in the light, if you make that 3D CG, nobody will care, really, right? Because it's like fish are supposed to be glistening. And you can have water motions, uh, the lure and stuff like that. Nobody will care if it's 3D CG because it's all plasticky and round, anyways. The fishing rods and the boats, they can all be 3D CG. So everything, pretty much, except for just the character models themselves, can be 3D CG in the series, and nobody will care. It's fine. So I was like, wait a minute, these guys are fucking genius, actually. So it was a very, I think, good series to do 3D CG models and kind of be like, yeah, just do this 3D kind of anime. Even if they don't necessarily, blend it in perfectly, I think it was perfectly fine because again, nobody cares. Everything is glistening and plasticky when you're fishing anyways, so who cares? So it was definitely a very good application, I think, of the technology. So yeah. With that said, again, I'll go into the story real quick. So essentially, you have the main character, Tsunehiro Sasaki, who is just a frizzy haired, um, Japanese kind of dude who is in debt. I think college student, I believe. Yeah, university student. He has large debt, and the debt sharks are kind of trying to chase him down. And he's just depressed. He's like, whatever. There's no point in living. His doctor tells him that he has only 2 years left to live. He's super depressed. He's just like, what the fuck? Everything's over. Meaning life is pointless. Blah blah. Blah. And he gets chased by debt sharks and falls into the sea. He afterwards, he loses consciousness and wakes up later, and he faces two people who saved him, called a pink-haired dude called uh, Tsujimori, yeah, Tsujimori Takaki, voiced by Ishikawa Kaito, as well as a blue-haired kind of almost kind of pushy girl called Ayukawa Hana, voiced by Fairu Zai. So these two people were fishing with their sort of fishing crew when they found him kind of drowning and falling into the sea and stuff like that, and they rescued him. And after some talking, he kind of joins their crew, starts doing a little bit of fishing, and off they go. And this is sort of a mix of ongoing, almost stream of consciousness. Like there's a lot of it's pretty much all slice of life, but there's some level of 50 kind of 60% of it is the slice of life, their episodic kind of being with the crew, him fishing, them teaching him fishing trivia. There's a lot of like different little fishing trivia here and there. And the other sort of 30 to 50% of it is him kind of reminiscing, retrospecting, introspecting about his life, how useless it is, and him talking about that with the pink haired dude again, Tsujimori, as well as the other fishing members, and kind of him mulling over what living life means to him and what he should do going forward. So the way I think about this series is that it tries to juggle a lot, a lot of balls. It tries to do the fishing trivia. It tries to show him doing the fishing, enjoying the fishing with the other fishing members. Uh, it has the kind of regular slice of life stuff where he's going around, he's interacting with the fishing crew, or the fishing crew. He's interacting with the other dudes. He's going to like the park where he's eating or he's doing all these things. He has that. He has the part where he has to um deal with his like drama and his sort of like, "Oh, why am I even bothering with this? Oh, what are these guys all up to? Man, I'm in debt. Like, what the fuck can I do?" Kind of that sort of drama and introspection theme, right? Like, why is life worth living? Kind of business. And then he also has these interactions, relationships with both the girl and the boy that the story is constantly trying to resolve, right? He's kind of like, "Oh, this girl is cute. What? Is she coming on to me? You know, all this crap kind of stuff, right?" Um, so there are those relationships to resolve, and then the pink haired dude is like really into trying to take care of the main guy. For some reason, I'm sure a bunch of BL dojins will be written, a bunch of yaoi dojins will be written about these two in the future. But there's a lot of that sort of things going on. So you have the relationship, you have the introspection and the life counseling theme, you have the slice of life, you have the fishing trivia, you have at least four balls to juggle here. And I personally think that um they're doing an okay job of it as much as they can with these four balls, but I just think it's a little bit too much. And I I think they need to make clear on how they're going to set themselves apart in terms of the whole, oh, like, what's even the point of living? Like, why are you even doing these things? Like, me just living life every day with this like large debt, me not being good at anything. Oh, oh, pity me, that stuff that the MC goes through. And then that's okay as an initial like problem setup because that happens in real life. That's a common premise in these sorts of series. But the way that that resolves and the way that the characters interact with the dude and the way that the anime shows a lesson to the viewers, like this is what this story thinks about that problem, right? That has to be resolved more quickly, and I don't think it's being resolved that well right now. A lot of it's kind of just, oh, um like why am I even I'm useless, and like why are you guys here with me? It's like you guys think I'm just stupid scum. And then him being the main character being cringe and just running away and doing all that sort of stuff. It's like, you're not my real friend, you were never my real friends all along. That sort of stuff is very cheesy. It's a little bit too much on the nose, and that needs to be resolved in a unique manner, in an organic unique manner, as soon as possible. Else it becomes a little bit the story becomes a little bit um, iffy, I think, foundationally. The other stuff, but I mean, even if that sort of stuff gets resolved properly, I think just the overall balance of what gets screen time on in the story is just it's a little bit. There's just too much to handle because the fishing trivia, I think, does need its a little bit of space, right? That requires, you know, 1 to 2 to 3 minutes, at least. And then you have, what is it? Um, you need the slice of life stuff that'll take, 5 to X number of minutes. And then you'll have the other like introspection stuff. And then they keep trying to push this like pink guy being a little bit very doting on the main character, and then the main character also being like, "Wow, this girl's so cute." Like that shit probably needs to go somewhere, and that will go somewhere. But I just don't think there's that much reason to push it that hard. If they want to push it, they should make a point of really pushing that and actually having like the characters evolve in that interpersonal relationship. But I don't think they're worried about that right now. I think they're kind of merely worried about the dynamic of, oh, what does fishing mean to you? That sort of general chill and fish dynamic, plus and that how that sort of conflicts with the main character being depressed and pitying himself. I think they're more worried about that, the writers, than they are about the other part, like the romantic relationship or like the pink dude kind of being like, oh, I like this main character. Kind of, I don't think they're interested in developing those interpersonal relationships as much right now, but they just have a lot of juggling to do, and I'm a little bit worried about how it's going to go. Right now, it's going okay, um, but they need to straighten out the whole how they're going to resolve the dude pitying the main character self pitying himself all the time, and um, not just kind of fall into the standard platitudes and story development stuff. Oh, you're pitting yourself, but there's so much more to life. You know, like that sort of shit, right? Right, that a lot of stories tend to do. Um, they need to not fall into that. They need to make sure the story screen time balance is proper, and they need to either get that relationship stuff out of the way or they need to kind of quickly resolve it. So they have a lot of organization to do, but I think the foundation in terms of what they're doing, in terms of how the characters are shaped up, in terms of just the I don't hate the fishing premise. I don't think it's I think it has a danger of becoming very boring if the story isn't handled well enough. But I think foundationally, the fishing premise is okay and it merges well with the, oh, why are you so depressed? You just got to chill out and fish. I think it kind of jives well with that. Um, I think overall, they have the story has a good base that it can work off of as long as again they organize well what I mentioned before. But they do need to organize that properly. If they do not organize that within the next I want to say 3 to 5 episodes, that would be what, like up to episode 6 to episode 8-ish, 9-ish. Um they're going to be in trouble. The pacing is not going to work with a 12 episode anime. So they need to get that shit on locked in very properly. And they don't also, because it's an anime original, they won't, if the pacing gets screwed up and their story just goes out the window, they can't fault the quote unquote original writer. Oh, they can't be like, oh, sorry, the original manga was 400 chapters and we couldn't fit that into our anime pacing. They won't have that excuse. So, they gotta lock in. They gotta lock in. But I do think overall the audio visuals are pretty decent. The 3D CG being suited for the fishing theme helps a lot. I think the story has legs. I don't I don't really see the legs running yet, so to say. I and I there are a lot of hurdles that it still has to get over. I don't dislike the series, but I think it's just kind of starting out. It needs to go somewhere really. And um I would probably give this series currently a I would probably give this series a 5.5 out of 10. I think it is above average. It is above average, but I think there's still a long ways to go before it can really be a series that I would properly recommend to somebody and being like, wow, this is an interesting series that has good pacing, good story development, stuff like that I would recommend to somebody. And um I think there's a lot of hurdles that if it trips over any one of them, it could definitely lose some points at the very least. So, um, definitely, s- I would say a series that you should be on the watch out for. You should have on your watch list potentially for this season, but you shouldn't necessarily jump at the chance to watch it. So, I think definitely a series that again has the base to go where it needs to go. It just needs to actually go there. But yeah. But yeah, that was my review of Negative Positive Angler. Again, an anime original done by Studio Nut. Studio Nut under director uh, Uemura Yutaka with his old FLCL alternative shoegaze crew as well as Yojo Senki crew, kind of gathering up a lot of veterans and heading this. I think audiovisually, it's fine. The story again needs to make sure it goes somewhere. So I'm hoping, I'm praying that the scriptwriter and what is it, Suzuki Tomohiro, right? Suzuki Tomohiro is going to be able to properly pace this within a 12 episode set. So